Week's show, does Rover's new baby have what it takes to fend off an Italian panda? More fun than a bucking bronco, but should they be allowed on the road? We find out the pleasures and pitfalls of riding a quad bike. Plus, shock, horror, it's a smart car, but not as we know it. Britain's most stylish city car grows up and gains 2 extra seats. Our verdict on the new 4-4.
We're down at the dockside at Tilbury, about 25 miles down the Thames from the Tower of London. Now, it's at ports like this that new supplies are coming in of cars from all around the world. Now, there are 2 very significant ones arriving just about now. One of them, the Fiat Panda from Italy. This one, not quite so easy. It's a Rover, and it's just been shipped to Britain. How come? Don't we make cars at Longbridge anymore? Oh, yes, we do. But this one, the CityRover, is made in India. The talents of that particular subcontinent brought the famous Balti to these second city streets. And now I guess Birmingham's MG Rover must be hoping their Indian takeaway can equal that success story. You know, the 1.4 litre engine chugs along quite nicely. It's pretty noisy, there's a bit of a whine to it. I can live with that. But I'm not sure that I actually feel that confident about what I've got beneath me.
CityRover and Fiat Panda prices start at around 6.5 grand, but this CityRover Select will cost you nearly 8.
This makes me feel like I'm driving not an early Korean car, for example, but more like an East European car. I'm talking about a sort of Lada type car, a Dacia type car. They were East European marques that never really cracked their cheap feel, their quality problems. And while this is better in terms of quality, it does have that kind of feel to it.
There are plenty of cars in this modest price league with great build quality and cutting-edge features. Sadly, though, the CityRover isn't one of them.
I mean, just the feel of the switches. I'm hearing all sorts of strange noises here just by adjusting this. I mean, all very, very tacky and cheap and nasty, quite frankly. You know, if that was a kid's toy, it wouldn't be a very high-quality kid's toy. Well, there's only one word to describe the interior of this car, and that word is woeful. I don't mind cheap, I don't mind plastic, but when it's fit and finish like this, that apart from the huge gap, the thing is moving around, and all these little touches here, it's all very, really tacky and nasty and low-grade plastic. I keep criticising this car, but I want you to bear in mind 2 things. One, it wasn't built by the production line workers at Rover, so therefore this is not a criticism of Longridge workers. And 2, there is a place for this car. There really is a place for this car. I think this car should be pitched at about at a push, £5,000. The fact that you could pay 6 grand and up for it means to me one thing and one thing only. It's simply overpriced. I never ever thought that I would climb into a Fiat, a bottom of the range almost Fiat Panda, 6 odd grand, and feel like I'm in a limousine, but it's all relative, isn't it?
Let's come back down to earth, shall we? This is a humble Fiat. It's an inexpensive Italian car with an inexpensive interior. There's your usual acres of plastic inside, but by comparison, this looks like it's been done by a master craftsman. It's all about fit, finish, and quality of design.
This is much more of a city car. This is much more of a car for London or Birmingham. This is a car that you can happily bomb around tight city streets, or equally thrash down a motorway or chug down some country lanes as we're doing at the moment.
This car's funky, it oozes style. It's a car for the 2000s. not the 80s.
Now, Rover would argue that, yeah, but it's in a different class. Yeah, it certainly is in a different class. It's in a higher class. It's in 2 classes higher.
Nothing would please me more than to praise this car, but if I did, I'd be lying to you and indeed to the Rover Car Company.
If you do want to go and buy one, well, that's up to you. You won't be making a terrible, terrible mistake. Be my guest, go and buy one. It's just that I wouldn't. I certainly wouldn't, if it was my money. Well, you know, I've been doing back-to-back comparisons between similarly priced cars for years, if not decades, but never before has the conclusion been so easy to arrive at. Without doubt, the CityRover wins it hands down, at least in terms of spaciousness and size. It's a bigger car than the Panda. In terms of appearance, well, neither of these cars are great looking, they're both all right, but I'd call it a draw. But in every other area, the Panda walks it, quite frankly. It's more fuel efficient, it's got a better interior, it's more enjoyable to drive, it's better built. I mean, I could just go on and on and on and on. I've got to say this also. This car goes back to the service bay every 12,000 miles. This one has to go in every 6,000. It's a walkover. Winner, loser.
The region's farmers have known it for years. Quad biking is the second most fun thing you can do with your wellies on. Thank you. After all, what could be easier? You simply hop on, thumb the throttle, and away you go. Any old fool can do that. Well, that's what you'd think, but in the wrong hands, they can be lethal.
Jesus Christ almighty. Where's it going? Oh, for f***'s sake.
Last year, over 4,000 people in Britain were injured while riding quads. Celebrity wipeouts include Rick Mayall and Birmingham's beloved son, Ozzy Osbourne, who nearly killed himself when he lost control of a quad on his Buckinghamshire estate.
Sharon! Fucking hell, man.
Well, in the light of Ozzy Osbourne's recent experiences, it may seem a bit strange the Department of Transport has now made quad bikes road legal. So for the first time, you don't have to be a farmer to ride one on the road. They've classified them as cars, which also means you don't have to wear a helmet, but you'd be crazy not to. Here at Pulling Power, we thought this was an opportunity too good to miss. So we've blagged this 180cc Cobra from the Lincoln-based importer SLD. Let's find out how it copes on the open road.
Oh, Cinnamon, where you gonna run to? Cinnamon, where you gonna run to?
Well, this is certainly a first. I guess it's quite logical in a way. You'd think quad bikes have been around for a long time. Why wouldn't you want to ride one on the road? Well, when you've been used to riding on 2 wheels, to get on 4 on the road is a rather odd feeling, I have to say.
Please help me, Lord, all on them day.
It's a twist and go, this, like a normal scooter. Front brakes operated with your hands, rear brake operated with your foot. And interestingly, they also have a reverse gear on this quad bike, which is quite handy because it's got the turning circle of a London bus. Speed humps are great fun on this. You don't even need to pay them any attention at all. You hit them as fast as you want, and the thing just gets right up over the top. There you go. But this thing is just terribly, terribly slow. It's not designed to go all that quick. It's a 30-mile-an-hour max job. And when you get up above about 15 or 16 miles an hour, it vibrates like a dentist's drill. It's unbelievable. Certainly need my fillings checked after this one.
Oh, I run to the river.
Chattering teeth aside, it does surprisingly make the perfect inner city explorer. Just pull up, stop, have a look around, and move on. And if you can't park this, then you just can't park.
I said, Lord, pardon me.
Perhaps I need to spell it out. You can't just take any old farm quad bike and put it on the road. You need a few niceties, like indicators, a speedometer, of course, horns, all of those kind of things. Looking around the side here, you've got the tax disc, 110 of your finest English pounds, because it is, of course, classed as a motor car. Only one forward gear and one reverse gear, and you access them via this lever here. You've got to have the brakes full on before you can put it in. Lots of safety measures on this quad bike. And down the front here, an oil cooler. The temperatures are a lot higher on the open road than they would be in farmlands, so therefore you need to cool the thing down, and that's why you've got the oil cooler. Nice compact little package, isn't it? But that package does cost over £2,000. And that's quite a lot of cash for something that can't filter and struggles to do more than 30 miles an hour. So, is there really a market for the street-legal quad? Well, the people who are in the business of selling these quad bikes for the road say they shift a few thousand a year as things stand. But with the new legislation making them road legal, they expect a big swell in that. They tend to sell them to younger people, to kids obviously for off-roading, but also to young adults. And they're expecting to see quite a lot of young adults buying into this because you need a road legal vehicle to go green laning. And certainly I can see the appeal of doing it in one of these.
It was boiling around the sea.
Is it a commuter vehicle? No, it's not really. It's not quite narrow enough to slip through those all-important gaps in the traffic. It's not fast enough, frankly, for the dual carriageways or the longer roads. If your commute involves purely built-up areas, then maybe, but if you ever have call to go more than 30 miles an hour, then one of these is definitely not for you. Well, there's no doubt quad bikes are lots of fun, but a serious on-road tour, I'm not so sure. At the end of the day, big or small, quad bikes are basically toys.
Well, I loathe the CityRover and I love the new Panda, but for double the money, you could have the new four-seater Smart. Find out in part 2 if it's worth the dosh.
We're in Rome for the launch of the new Smart. Why? Because the Italians just adore the little two-seater. In fact, there are 30,000 of them in this city alone. They love its style and they're prepared to pay for it. And you know what the Italians are like? They'll pay hundreds of pounds for the right handbag. They don't care what it costs. It's style at any price.
Dubbed the 4-4 because it has 4 doors, 4 seats, and, well, it's for 4 people. This is a move into the mainstream market, and its success depends on one thing.
Does it have what it takes in the style stakes?
1, 2, 3, My baby don't mess around because she loves me so, and this I know for sure.
So what do you think of when you think of smart cars? Well, I suspect probably those two-seaters, you know, the little city coupes that fit sideways into car parking space in the brilliant round towns.
Now named the 4-2 because it has 2 doors, 2 seats, and it's for 2 people. You see a pattern here? There's also the Roadster and Roadster Coupe, a trendy sports car launched in 2003. Which all makes a rather fashionable lineup. I mean, come on, they may be totally impractical, but everyone loves that cheeky smart look.
Well, the thing is, it was absolutely perfect for driving in busy city streets like in Rome. But this one is much more than just a small city runabout. The front end of the Smart 4-4 is rather more traditional than the two-seater Smart, which is a bit more distinctive, but there are some smart touches like the headlamps, for example. And it looks like there's no bumper on the car. In fact, the whole of the front end of the car has been designed to act like one. The side view is the most recognisably smart bit of the car, with the two-tone colour scheme and the silver safety cell, which is designed to protect the inhabitants in the event of a crash. There's masses of room in the back, to the point where Smart call it a lounge concept. And just so you get the message, they even provide you with a delightful little smart cushionette, just to make sure you're really cosy.
In the front, it's well laid out using good quality materials, and the controls are well placed for the driver. Like the exterior, there are smart design cues and some rather clever touches. But on this model, it's all much more subtle. What you get is a car you can live with every day, with bags of space, But its distinctive look means you still get to stick out from the crowd.
The thing about this car is, and in fact, when the Italians have been looking at the car and admiring it and they like it, they say, yeah, it's great, but actually, of course, it's quite a lot bigger, so it's not going to be quite so easy to park and not quite so easy to feed through traffic. Typical cobbled street surface in Rome. Handles very well on this kind of surface. I mean, it's not a hard ride, but it's very firm, it's very well balanced. God, Roman drivers, what am I supposed to do? I mean, can you hear this? I mean, I'm not doing anything. I'm doing nothing. I'm sitting here. It's all going horribly wrong. Mi dispiace. God, blimey.
Roman drivers are so rude.
You see the way that happens, just like over nothing, which is why this car is so good, like the two-seater, because of course it's got all these panels that you can remove. So if they did get bashed, you just take the panel off and remove it, which is why, of course, the Italians like them so much.
Out of the city, the 4.4 starts to show that it's a smart car that's really grown up.
So what's it like to drive? It's solid, it corners well, it's got a very wide track, it feels like it's got a low centre of gravity, you feel really stuck to the road. Whereas for me, the city car, you know, it had that very high centre of gravity, it was a bit wobbly. This is a different category. This is a good driving car.
On the downside, the auto gearbox is still a problem as it struggles to change gear smoothly, even though it has improved with each model. My advice? Go for the manual, which is only available on the 4.4.
But why would you buy one of these? After all, you could get yourself a Polo. You could even get yourself a 1.6 Focus, for example. Great cars, great performance, good value for money. I guess smart owners will say because they love all that smart stuff, they love all the style, they like something different.
It goes on sale September 2004 and expect to pay £10,000 for the entry-level 1.1 and up to £15,000 for the 1.5 petrol or turbo diesel. Sadly, a little on the expensive side.
So who's going to buy this? Well, I suspect perhaps, you know, the sort of person who loves the smart, likes the style, all that stuff, but two seats just isn't practical. Or maybe it's the person who's always wanted to buy the smart, but needed more than two seats. It's safe and stylish and drives and feels like a proper car, but you'll pay a premium for the cachet of being seen in this year's latest fashion statement, and only you know whether it's worth it. I'd be tempted.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
Regular viewers will know that last year I took part in the Gumball Rally. 3,000 miles across America in 6 days is tough enough. But when your car breaks down in the desert and you end up hitching lifts and borrowing cars, it's certainly not made any easier. Well, some of my fellow Gumballers' wider exploits have been made into a movie. Gumball! And guess who's been invited to the premiere?
The idea behind tonight's premiere is actually to arrive in style, preferably the car you competed the Gumball in. Well, as you know, my car didn't quite make it, but tonight I'm going in something with real pulling power. So this is it, the Jaguar JP1, and what a fantastic machine it is. Of course, there's no doors, but in we go. And it feels really exciting already, and I just can't wait to get moving.
Despite being completely road legal, the JP1's mid-mounted 3-litre V6 engine is simply not designed for urban speed limits. Getting from 0 to 30 might be incredible fun, but to really give this thing a serious burnout, we're just going to have to take it round the track. The JP1 is a prototype racer developed by Palmer Sport and designed specifically to deliver the ultimate track experience, and it doesn't disappoint.
And here we go!
It'll top 180 miles an hour and will do 0 to 60 in just over 3 seconds. This thing is truly awesome. Steady on the throttle, steady, whoa, steady on the throttle.
You got me in a spin, but everything is okay.
This car is actually road legal. Can you imagine going to shopping with this? I don't think so. Mind you, I would. Now that was great fun, but now I've got a premiere to attend. As everyone soaks up the press attention and starts to take their seats, I'm a little, as usual, behind schedule. I should be okay though, after all. I've got 250 brake horsepower of JP1 on my side. But the stop-start-stop of London traffic is beginning to take its toll on this finely tuned engine.
As per my normal gumball style, the car's broken down. This time apparently it's a flat battery, and this car doesn't like to be run around for too much in traffic. So the mechanic here is desperately trying to get it started, but you know, it's quite normal really. This is a typical gumball for me.
Oh no, my grand entrance at a London premiere ruined thanks to London traffic, much to the delight of my fellow gumballers.
Your guy seems to have broken down again. Somebody's fiddling about with him, but he's only got half a mile to go, so no, less than that actually, so about 100 yards.
You've got another car that doesn't work.
Well, it looks like it doesn't. That's my gumball experience altogether.
It's a British technology thing, this, isn't it?
What do you mean it's a British technology thing? It's just a brilliant car, it's just not made to these roads.
The irony is fabulous. To break down in America, to go for all that hassle with the tourists and everything else, and then to come here for the premiere and not even be able to drive up to the door, fantastic.
But I was determined not to miss out. Even though they're rolling up the red carpet, I get in just in time to catch a bit of the movie. Arrive in style and leave, well, with style. I wonder if I could do this year's rally in the London bus.